identified this pattern. Now, afterwards, you'll see there are a couple of empty green candles. So they're bullish candles going upwards. This is what actually happened in reality subsequent to this the identification of this pattern. So this pattern is just one of those that things turned out exactly as we expected. As time goes by, you'll see more of the candles being drawn on. So in other words, if I look at this graph again in what is my time granularity? I'm on it's a 15-minute graph. So if I look at it again in 15 minutes, there should be another little candle there that shows me what happened in the last 15 minutes. I'm just going to look at a couple more patterns. See, although this pattern was identified even earlier, it's important to note two things about the pattern that make up basically the duration, the time span over which this pattern was formed. So the one thing to look at is the interval. So in other words, what is the length of a particular candle that I'm looking at? In this case, the 60-minute candles. And then what is the length of the pattern? And that is the number of candles. So literally what it translates to, this triangle is formed over 170 candles of 60 minutes each. So it formed over 170 hours. So it's a slightly longer term pattern. The accuracy of longer term patterns are higher, simply because there's more participants, more people involved. You know, more time has passed by, so more people actually took part in making this pattern turn out as we expect it would. We can see the price has continued up to a level of 170, almost, yeah, higher than 174, 174.42. So it's well on its way there. Look, it doesn't always happen that we reach our prediction region. I say we correct 70% of the time, not 100% of the time. And also, like we always say, I make this point every time I do a webinar, is that it's not AutoChartist is not meant as a trading system. It's not. These are not buy and sell signals that you can follow blindly. The purpose of this is to answer a different type of question. The question that you want to answer is, where are the trading opportunities? And the opportunities are based on, you know, the potential difference between where the price is now and where it's going to be. But it's not a certainty. So we give you a lot of opportunities, a lot of potential trades that you could make, but they're not all to be followed blindly. And that's why we've also added a whole bunch of quality indicators. I'm not going to cover them in detail now. There are some previously recorded webinars that James Hierchek did that you can look up on our website. But definitely use AutoChartist in conjunction with other types of analysis. You know, consider what has happened in the news as well, and make a sort of a more richly informed decision. Don't only base your trading decisions on AutoChartist. Just quickly, the reason why I'm going through chart patterns now is because there's a certain amount of parallel between chart patterns and key levels. So I just want to refresh you on both of these. With emerging chart patterns, we're looking at patterns that where the price haven't broken through support or resistance. So in this case, we've got a pattern in my home currency, the USD South African Rand. And the expectation here is that the price, because we've got a pattern that's been formed according to the theory. It's got two bounces on each of the support and the resistance. The last bounce was against the resistance, and now the expectation is that the price would go down the other way and bounce again off support. Now this is quite a long-term pattern. No, I lie, it's not. It's a 30-minute pattern, but it's formed over quite a large number of bars. So it'll be interesting to see where the price would go in the next, I would say probably day or half. Okay, in this case, I just want to zoom in here. So in this case, we had the price bounce off the support line, and it went up on its way to resistance. But now notice at the time at which we identified this pattern, the price level was already so close to, or the closing price was already so close to the resistance line, that the opportunity for this arrow is almost pointing the wrong way. So this is most definitely not a valid trade opportunity. We can see what happened subsequently. I mean, with patterns like these, like triangles that consolidate quite a lot, we call them non-trending patterns. So there's you know, a certainty that the price is going to break out of this little this compression very quickly. So there's not much of an opportunity with non-trending patterns in emerging patterns. But if we look at trending patterns like channels, I was going to see, let's try and look at this. What was a channel? I look at another channel. Channels give us a much better chance, or much, let me call it much better opportunities, because price kind of has a further direction or further distance that it can travel. So that's the potential profit for us, profit or loss. Now in this case, as you can see, the price went completely the opposite way than we expected, and in fact it broke through this resistance line. Just one of those cases where things don't go as we expected. The reason why I say don't always follow these signals blindly. Where's the other channel? Hong Kong. This is the newest one. This pattern was identified as we started this this webinar. Looks like a reasonable opportunity again. We see already the first bar went in the way we expected, and this is really the opportunity for us. So if we get into it, if we get into this this trade now, it would be at a level just below 10, and we can probably make a couple of pips all the way to this resistance level. Right, now let me switch to the interesting new stuff, key levels. Note that there's this button over here won't be on your platform yet. It will appear as soon as we make the service live, so it won't be, you won't see it there yet. You can also now see one of the reasons why we have called it key levels rather than horizontal support and resistance, because fitting horizontal support and resistance into a button like this is just not practical. I'm just loading it again because my approaches screen didn't seem to load first time. Let me see, I've got a question here from Mike. What main indicators are your traders using in conjunction with the patterns? Mike, it depends very much on the trader's own taste, but we've done some tests even with simple indicators like moving averages and RSIs. What you find is that when a chart pattern and whatever indicator you're using are telling the same story, in other words, they're not contradicting each other, then you usually find a better trade opportunity. So, whether it's even just watching the news or using technical indicators or using a black box, whatever that you get from somewhere, the more different, if I can call them, opinions that you get, the better. So use AutoChart, and even within AutoCharters you'll find different opportunities that either support each other, confirm each other, or contradict each other. So look at those specific opportunities. Look at the consensus view. If you get a consensus view, then you've got a better opportunity.
Eric, Mike actually asked, yes. I was just
yes.
mention the RSI.
I mean, certainly, when a stock or a price graph is, a currency pair is overbought or oversold, if it's overbought, you're gonna think twice about going long. I mean, this is all about, you know, increasing your chances of making a good trade, and you're gonna want to obviously get the best possible, give yourself the best possible chance when you make a trade. So if the one thing says it's way overbought, and the chart pattern says buy, you know, maybe think twice about taking that trade. No, I'm sorry, I don't know why my key levels are not refreshing. Chart patterns are working. Just bear with me 1 second. I'd like to invite you to, if you have certain questions about the topics we've covered so far, go ahead and type them in. I'll respond to them as we continue. My application seemed to, I think I could potentially have a problem with my internet connection. No, here I've got indices. Okay, let's look at indices. Now this particular search was set up only looking for support levels. That's why you can see under both my breakouts and approaches I only have supports listed. So looking at breakouts, first of all, this first pattern, it was also identified. And it was identified today. No, I think I got the time zone wrong. It was just recently identified. We've got a significance level of 4. If you see these 4 little blue dots, that means that's the number of times that the price has bounced off this support level at exactly that level. And then we've got this breakthrough, and the prediction region is based on, like I said before, it's the strength of the. Actually, I don't think I've said this before. The prediction region for breakouts and key levels is based on a number of things. The one thing is the significance level. In other words, the stronger a support or resistance level is, or the more there, I've just got my Forex coming through now. Okay, there we go. Sorry. The more points that touch that level, that test this level, the more significant that level will be. And when it breaks through that level, we're expecting a slightly further, move away from that level. So then the forecast region will be slightly further away. We also take into account the total price movement over the formation of this pattern. So if the price went too far away from this level and went back again, then we can also look at the slightly further movement away from the breakout. So this particular one, we've seen the breakout was identified quite, I would say, a little bit late. It has moved in the direction, but this little bar that formed afterwards is a bearish bar. So I would say it's hanging in the balance at the moment. We'll have to wait and see what happens, what turns out in this particular one. Another breakout just recently identified. This looks like quite a nice solid level. We've got 5 touching points. I would say there's even quite a few more points that come close to the level that we may not have included. So depending once again on how strong the breakout is, I would base my decision whether to trade or not on what happens in the next couple of bars. But it's certainly important to note that we are in breach of this level at this point. Let's look at an approach. I'm just going to take them from the top. Okay, so this opportunity has actually come and gone already. We identified it over here, and the expectation was, see, we've got this level that was tested a number of times. Then the price went away from the level, it reapproached the level, and then the expectation was for the price to go back there, and it did go back there. At this point, you would have asked yourself the question, is it going to stay around here and retrace, in other words, reconfirming this level, or is it going to break through and continue on with it? Question, are key levels more accurate on longer time frames? I would expect them to be so, Mark. I would lie if I gave you an answer. I would think what is more important is the significance level. So this particular search, I think I've set up with significance looking at only at highest five touching points or more. So this looks like, just judging from the numbers, it looks like a nice setup. We've got 108 bars, so the pattern forms over 108 bars, and we've got quite a lot of touching points. And here, indeed, it was quite a significant level. The price went all the way there again, and it continued to break through to that level. Let's look at a few more. You also find that sometimes you find groups of key levels on a particular currency pair. Like here, we've got 3 GBP CAD key levels, right out, the one after the other. The one is on a 30-minute, the one is on 15-minute, more or less the same length. And this one, these two literally, the bottom two literally differ by a single bar. Still in progress, I would say. This you could still consider trading. If I look at the shorter one, we should be looking at a half that length. Yeah, I see here. It's a yeah. I mean, it's a little bit late for me to get into the trade now. But if I did take the trade when this pattern first appeared, I would have considered maybe taking profit when the price started around here. I would have made a profit. At this point, I would probably be more or less back to where I started from. So I would say this opportunity is come and gone. Veronica wants to look at AUDUSD. Okay, so let me use this opportunity to show you how to set up a search. So I'm going to type in, let me take this slowly. There's a new search button in the middle of the screen on the left. Click that. There are 2 search types. You can either search by group like I did before. I just selected Forex All Intraday, which would include all the currency pairs. But now let's look at the particular one that Veronica wants to look at, AUDUSD. As I type it in, the name auto completes. I add this to my search. Don't forget to push the add button. My search name will automatically be AUDUSD, and I can create the search. Now remember, with AutoChartist, you have the real power in it lies in its ability to scan thousands of instruments over a very short time period. So, you know, instead of you having to look at all of the symbols on all of the different time frames, you know, AutoChartist does all of that work for you and gives you a short list, as it were, saying these are the latest opportunities. Look at these 5 or 6 different currency pairs right now, because you know this one is broken out there, and this one is approaching there. When we're doing a search like this, like AUDUSD in particular, this is really just, I mean, what you're trying to do is confirm for yourself, for your own sanity, saying, you know, I've traded this thing, I've gone short on this, you know, have I made the right decision? You're not always necessarily going to have up-to-date, relevant trade opportunities. If you look at the latest one, it certainly looks like there was a very strong support level that was broken through, and it's continuing on its way down to parity. I don't know, Veronica, is that what you expected? I hope you went short. Also, looking at just the sort of aggregate of the past few patterns, you can see there's quite a long